Are you ready, kids? Are you ready? All right, let's see what happens. This should be fun.
Are you just trying to navigate adulthood in a world that still expects you to have it all figured out? Welcome to This is 50 with your host, Travis Holmes.
Did I hit the right button? I think I hit the right button. Yeah, it's been a while. How are you? How are things going? Oh my God. I've got a confession for you. I'm not very proud of this, of what happened to me. And in the same sense, my wife had a confession to me on the way home after we landed. And I was like, are you for real? Are you fucking kidding me right now? I was so pissed off. Welcome to This is 50. This is my mental health show. This is, I do this strictly for me. I talk about things that happened in the last week or so. I've been off for the last 3 weeks now. Just got back from Europe. We're going to talk about that for a little bit and talk about all the people that I met, all the things that happened, and the lifestyles and things that are different from the United States and Europe and what I've learned and all the things in general. So we'll get to all that. Plus my wife and I's confession to each other. Oh God. If you're new to the show, because I've gained a lot of listeners with the tour group that I was on, you guys are going to look at me in a total different aspect now. You guys are going to go, well, that's different. So we'll get into that here a little bit later. There's your tease. As you guys know, I went to an ER. I was not rushed to the ER, but I went to the ER, and I could not get my heart rate down. It was like 110, 120. I forget what it was, beats per minute. Could not get it down for over 8 hours. And I could not book a doctor's appointment because the way my insurance works, it has to be, 365 days plus one before I can book another appointment for the insurance to cover it. So 45 days ago or something like that, I went to the ER room and when we got back, my wife was like going, hey, you know what? You need to make an appointment to go see the doctor. And called them up and they're like going, well, we don't have anything till the 25th. Now we do this show, This is 50 on Friday afternoon, usually around 3 o'clock. We're live on our YouTube channel. We'll do the first segment live. And then if you want to see the whole entire thing, you can go back later on when we edit and everything. So I had my appointment this past Wednesday at 9:40 in the morning, which is, I like it that way. Now, I live outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. It's about 45 to 60 minutes away. We live, that's the distance it takes to get into Charlotte. I don't know why I flubbed that up, but I did. It's an hour drive, and I'm talking highway miles. I'm not talking like, little side roads. I'm talking, you're 70 miles an hour for however long it takes to get to where your destination is. And so I went to my doctor's appointment this past Wednesday. If you listen to this show's been going on for the last 4 or 5 years now. Every time I have a doctor's appointment, I talk about it here on the air. I've got another new doctor. Yeah, I know. I just got this other one who was pregnant. And the one before that, she was nice and she ran off with the actual doctor that was there. And they ran off together and started their own practice. So now I've got this other guy. This is my fourth one. And I said that when I got into the room. Let me dive into this a little bit more for you. So I get there and I've got a nurse, whatever, his assistant. I'm Kennedy. Oh, hello, Kennedy. How are you? Normally, it's a black girl. I'm just going to say it straight out. It's a black girl. Normally, it's a black girl. Charlotte area itself, we have a high density of a black community. And so a lot of these jobs, and good for them. God, that sounds so horrible. But good for them. They're in the medical field. There's a lot of black women in the medical field. So for me to see, a black nurse or whatever, it's just constant. Not that I need to see a white one, but it actually, when I see one, it's kind of like, oh, it's a little bit more eye-opening to me. So I've got this new nurse, and she opens the door. Travis, yes. It's a white girl, and she's probably 25, 26 years old. She doesn't take care of herself. Let's put it that way. Her hair is in a ponytail. It's greasy, like she hasn't washed it, or like my mom used to say, when you wash your hair, you don't get enough soap out of it. You don't rinse it well enough. It's greasy. She's got regular glasses on, and she's walking weird. That's the first thing I noticed. And I look at her, and I look down. She doesn't have a foot. She's missing a foot, her left foot. I was like, whoa, all right, that's different. I'm thinking to myself, horrible accident somewhere, dog bit it off or so. I don't know what happened. Could be a dozen things. So she sits down and she starts typing, and she's literally like, I hate this computer. I'm like, all right, here we go. Already not liking her job. You step away from it for 5 seconds and it goes to screensaver, and she hits her card on the little pad that allows her to get into the computer. Doot, and it zip lines back to her chest. And she's like, give me your date of birth. And she's asking me all these different questions. I'll tell you about the questions here in a second. But I sat there and I said to her, I said, I said, hey, what's going on with this place? And this is a big structure. It's not like a walk-in strip mall thing. This is Atrium Healthcare. And I go, hey, what's going on with this place? And she kind of looked at me like, what do you mean? She's probably answered this question 50 million times. What do you mean? I said, in the last 3 years, no, I'm not mad or anything, but I'm like, in the last 3 years, I have had 4 doctors, this one being number 4. And she kind of, she's starting to put the blood pressure thing on me. And she's like, well, and she kind of flips her ponytail around and goes, we can't stop them for pursuing their life goals. And I go, okay, that's kind of a weird response. And, she's, or it's a machine now. They don't even do the anymore. They just, and now, like I said, we are an hour away, high-speed traffic, to get to this doctor's appointment in Charlotte from where I live at. So I sat down, and my blood pressure, because that's the first thing they do, blood pressure, 160 over 87. I'm like, holy shit. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because I knew, I was so pissed. I knew the night before, I said I got a, little home thing where you put it on, and it's got it's like eye health or something like that, and it syncs up to your cell phone. And I put it on while I'm watching TV, 7 o'clock at night, reads it, 117 over 82. I took a picture of it. Then I waited another half hour. I took all my pills. Don't worry. I didn't have an episode or anything. I was calm. I was mellow, sitting there watching, I forget what I was watching, Family Guy or something stupid like that. And 30 minutes later, I did it again. 112 over 65 or something like that. And I took a picture of that. I get to the hospital, not the hospital, my appointment, and I'm 160 over 87. I'm like, whoa, maybe you guys have given me the medication based on my driving here. Now, granted, I did have some episodes about a year ago where my blood pressure at home was 145 over like 92 or something like that. But I've gotten it down because I'm still running. And I found out the way I run actually has a name for it. And I'll get into that here in a little bit. So she's sitting there and starts asking me questions. And I'm like, I've never had these questions asked to me before. This is the first time these questions have been asked to me. And she's like, yeah, well, he's a new doctor. He does things just a little bit different. He likes to do virtual things and all that. And I was like, okay. The question she asked me was like I was 20-something years old. The first sorry, choking on my own self here. The first question she asked me, outside the, are you still taking this? Are you still taking this? You know, all that. Personal question. She asked me, are you sexually active? I said, I kind of popped up and I go, well, that's weird. I said, I'm 53. I'm married. Yeah, I am. You know, it's my wife and, you know, that's my partner, my single partner. That's, you know, love and life and all that stuff. Yes. I don't think that's any of your business. That's a question you ask to someone in their 20s or their 30s or something like that. Are you sexually active? You don't ask someone in, what if I was 75? Are you sexually active? Oh, yeah. You didn't see the Viagra pills on there, honey? You forgot the, you know, the I still take those as needed. Wink, wink, you know. This girl. And then she asked me, I've never asked this or had this asked until now. My whole entire year or my whole entire life, you know, going to the doctor in my early 20s and 30s, they'd ask me, how much do you smoke? No. Do you drink alcohol? Yes. How much do you drink? And then, of course, you fucking lie your ass off. So here I am. I've been going to the same hospital since we've been here in North Carolina, which is 14, 15 years now. This is the first time they ask these questions to me. Are you hooked on any drugs? I don't think they said hooked, but I said no. Do you take any unprescribed medication? Well, that's a felony now, isn't it? You can't trick me. I'm not that dumb. And then she did ask, do you drink alcohol? And I said, yes. Do you consider it, do you drink it weekly, every other day? And I go, is every day on there somewhere on one of your check things? And I'm making a joke. She's like going, yes, it is. I said, okay, there, Hoppy. Yes, every day. How many do you drink? 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 6. I said, per day? She's like, yeah. I go, no, that's like per hour for me. You guys know I start at 12. I don't ramp this thing down until 6 o'clock at night when I have to go and do all the chores around here. But I didn't tell her that. So what did I do? I said, yeah, 6 to, 5 to 6 a day, every other day. Okay. Are you sexually active? Yes. Do you smoke? No. Do you take drugs? No. Do you do this? No. Do you do that? No. I'm fine. Across the board. Then she hands me when she's done, she's going to get ready for the doctor. Now I'll get into his story here in 1 second. She hands me that one piece of paper that you're supposed to hand, I guess, at the beginning. She hands it to me at the end where they want to evaluate your depression. Fill this out. And she was just haphazardly handing it to me. Fill this out. And then when you're done, you can set it over there and whatever. So I always fill it out honestly. Are there times where you feel doomed? Yes, there are times. Yes, we all do that. We're human people. Not the human aliens that are out there, but human people. Do you feel like, all the things they ask you? Do you not want to participate in like events? Do you not want to be social? Do you have a fear of starting a project and not finishing it? And all the stuff I'm answering, likely, less likely, more likely, all that stuff, all the way down. And I threw it on the table there. She's like, all right, I'll go get the doctor. Then the doctor comes in. Oh, shit. Here we go. I'm going to take a quick little break, and I'll dive into his story when we come back. So stick around. I'll be right back. So I have a new favorite ice cream. And if you're just catching up with here on This Is 50, welcome. We have a Facebook page, too. And I posted a lot of the pictures from my trip. And I say my trip, my wife and I's trip. We went to France. Let me take that back. We went to London. My wife and I got there 2 or 3 days prior to our group excursion and stuff. So we got there and got to enjoy everything. Then we teamed up with the group. And then we spent another 4 days as a group in France. And I think 4 days in France, and then I think 3.5 days in Amsterdam. So we had a great time. It was fun. It was a really good experience. I even told our tour director, I said, you know what? I had this anxiety on, going to these countries. Now, London's kind of safe. Paris is kind of safe. Amsterdam's kind of safe. But I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for like GPS or smartphones and stuff, I don't know how people would do it and feel confident, roaming the streets of these foreign areas. So everything was good. I have new ice cream. I have a new appreciation for pistachio ice cream. Now, I know here in the United States, it's probably not going to be the same as what I had overseas. But I'll tell you what, pistachio ice cream, I was a big Moose Tracks guy because I felt... This is just my brain. I felt buying Moose Tracks was the best bang for my buck. That's the only reason why I eat it. My dad said, you'd pinch a penny just to get a penny out of it. Because you get the chocolate, you get the peanut butter, you get the swirls, you get all that stuff. Well, there's Rocky Road and stuff. Fuck those nuts. Nuts are cheap. It's the other stuff that makes it expensive. So pistachio is my new favorite flavor. I haven't had any yet here in the United States yet, but over there, I had some and it was great. So as I'm walking in my doctor's appointment, back to the doctor's appointment, and then I'll get into the trip and all the excitement and everything that was going on and all the things that I had to deal with and the people that I met and the conversations that I had. I'll deal with that here I'll talk about that here in a minute. And I'm going to deal with it too, because I had to deal with my wife on her confession on the way home. So you're sitting in the waiting room. Travis, yes, follow me. The nurse with the one leg, missing foot, weighs me. I think that scale's fucking wrong. I'm going to say it right now. I did have jeans on because it was cool out. I did have shit in my pockets. There's no way I weighed what I did. Well, what did you weigh there, dummy? No, I'm not telling you because I told my wife that. She's like going, really? That's only an 8-pound difference. There's no way. If you're watching this here on the YouTube channel, there's no way this physique is 8 pounds lighter than last year. There's no way. So as I'm walking into the room, you can walk down the hallway and they have nurses doing their own little things and little computers and stuff. And they have little small offices and you see people sitting in the office and stuff doing medical stuff. I look to my left. I just happen to peer over to my left and I see this guy. He's probably 31, 32 years old. He's got scrubs on because everyone there has scrubs on. And he's kind of doing this. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, he's kind of like sitting there and kind of back and forth in his seat, twisting around. And he's got one leg. He's sitting on his leg. Some people sit on one leg with their foot underneath their butt. And he's doing this on his phone. Like left to right, not up and down, not the TikTok up and down. He's doing left and right. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Is he searching for a Tinder date or something? So after the one-legged nurse asked me about all this stuff, she leaves. She's like, I'll go get the doctor. All right. Doctor comes in. It's that guy. He's sitting there swinging his foot in the chair and stuff and looking for stuff. I don't know if he was on Tinder, but what am I supposed... If you're watching me here on YouTube, if I'm sitting here going like this with my thumb, left, left, left. If I'm doing that, left, left, left. What do you think he's fucking looking at? I don't know any other app. There might be someone out there that I don't know. Where you progress through the app by going left or right. Other than, I almost said sex apps. Dating apps. So he comes in. This guy comes in. Doctor. No lie. He's 5'2". His hands. Do you shake doctors' hands? I went to shake his hand. Hey, how you doing, sir? When he came in, he's got his, I don't know what he's fucking head down. He doesn't have a clipboard or anything. He's just got his medical badge. And he looks up at me and he took a step back. He's like, oh. Because I'm a big dude. I know I'm a big dude. I'm 6'1", 6'2", 200, the fucking scale lies. And he reaches out, and my hand could wrap around his hand 3 times. That's how small his hands were. I'm like, this guy's a fucking doctor? You guys are scraping the fucking bottom of the barrel. This is the 4th doctor I've had in 3 years. And there's background problems, I'm sure. And he sits down, and then he starts asking me questions. So, he's almost the same questions. Are you still taking this? Yes. Do you have any problems with it? No. I was in the emergency room, and that's kind of why I set up this whole appointment. I was in the emergency room because I had a heart palpitation, anxiety, and I'm explaining this to him. I'm pouring my heart out to him. I said, I don't know what it says on your little screen there because I can't fucking see that far because I'm fucking 53 years old and I can't see anything. And he's like, you're on a low dosage. Would you like to bump up your dosage of your Busprin? No, I'm fine. Oh, okay. And he does a dude, and he's asking me all these different questions, and I'm like, I was pissed off. This is where I'm getting at here. I was pissed off because all the stuff that I was telling him, he should have known this already. Little pregame, little pre-study. You come in the office. Hey, Travis, how you doing? How you feeling? The ER room trip. What did they find out? I've got the notes here. I see that you've this and that. No, he just sat down in his fucking chair, took his badge, doop, turned the computer back on, and he's like, can you? Is there anything else you want to talk about? Yeah, I want to talk about a lot of shit. Don't you study? He's going to be gone. He's going to be gone, and I'm going to have doctor number 5 come in. And I told him I had back problems. He perked up. Hey, do you need to have physical therapy or anything like that? No. If you were to look at my files, I've been through all that. I've done the MRIs. I've done all that stuff. Oh, and he kind of, I think, and he was trying to push off other drugs. Do we need to bump this up? Do you need a refill? Do you need, extender on this? Can we get you this? Can we get you that? Like he was getting a kickback on all this stuff. I'm sure he's getting a kickback on it. And he kept pushing him. I said, no. Is there anything else anything else bothering you before I wrap this up? Get back to my Tinder date. I said, yeah, there's a skin tag on my back. Can you look at it? My wife says it's getting bigger and bigger. Can you look at it? Well, we could send you a dermatologist and I can do a reference. I said, can you just look at it? And if you say I need to go, I'll go. And I lift my shirt up and he kind of feels on my, like half-ass feeling on my back. And he's like, I don't see anything. Well, have your wife take a picture of it. And, if it gets bigger, then you can contact me. And then, oh God, make the whole thing about the doctor. Have you gotten your tetanus shot? No, I haven't got one lately. Yeah, 2015. You can get that at CVS. Have you gotten your shingle shot? No. Well, you're a 50. You might want to get your shingle shot. They got that over at CVS too. He's pawning me off on CVS to get all this shit done. I guess that's common practice. I don't know. I'll tell you what. I do feel better. I do feel a lot better after spending 2.5 weeks in Europe. And the reason why I say that, where am I on time? Oh, I'm still good on time. I physically feel better. The food choices. There's nothing American out there, at least where we were at. Yes, there was a McDonald's. You had to hunt for it. It wasn't on every corner. Was there a Starbucks? I saw one, maybe two out of the corner of my eye. There's no Americanized stuff in where we were at. Everything was independently owned. It was a mom and pop shop or mom and pop restaurant or, that type thing. And the food quality was so much better. Like my wife and I and another couple that we befriended while we were there, we're talking about how when you wake up, the whole gluten-free and all that stuff, you don't feel groggy. You don't feel achy. You don't feel like your joints aren't moving. And it was a kind of an eye-opening thing. Everywhere we went, they always had, if there was 10 things on the menu, 5 of them were a vegan option. 7 other items were gluten-free. They focus, I don't want to say they focus, the way they have their menus and the food and the way they make it and then prep it and all blah, 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 was either vegan, gluten-free, or just regular, food. And it was so eye-opening to see that. And it did change how we felt during the day. Just throwing it out there. I don't know if you guys have experienced that as well. I understand it now. When people go, I'm vegan, I'm gluten-free, I'm this and that. Excuse me. I understand that now because I felt that way. Is it a lifestyle I can do here in the United States? I think I can to a certain point, but I'm not going to sit out there and wave my vegan flag. I'm not going to sit out there and wave my celiac flag that, hey, I'm special. But I will change my habits. And there's an app that I use. I started using this about 30 days ago, and it's really, really neat. I'll put it here let me pull it up. It's called Yuka, Yuka. And all it does, I don't know if it makes it vegan or whatever. Let's say you got 3 different types of potato chips in front of you, right? You scan the barcode, it'll tell you based on the ingredients if it's a good choice or a bad choice to make. The reason why I say the potato chips is because I love Doritos. Sorry, Cool Ranch Dorito, born and raised and dying, whatever. Cool Ranch Doritos, I'll eat a whole fucking bag on Sunday afternoon watching TV. I don't care. Blah, 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 blah. And then at the end, you lick your fingers and you're like, that was delicious. Out of all the chips and popcorns and all the stuff, I found that Sun Chips and pork rinds and all the other stuff, but Sun Chips were good for you. I say good for you. It puts a little green dot. It puts a little orange dot if they're kind of mediocre, and then put a red dot if it's bad. Sun Chips, every Sun Chip I scanned had a green dot because of the preservatives, because of the additives or lack thereof. It's good. And the app's called Yuka, Yuka. And I put it on my phone. So now when I go grocery shopping, if my wife says, hey, pick me out like some, here's a prime example, breakfast bars. I stood in that breakfast bar aisle in Walmart, which is two 8-foot bays, 16 feet of breakfast bars. And I stood there for probably 8-9 minutes, scanning every single one, looking for the green dot. Doot, nope, can't have that. Some of the Cliff bars, doop, nope, can't have that. Doop, nope, can't. Walmart had one, doop, green. We'll get that. Some kind of blueberry bullshit. I don't know what it was. But it helps you make better choices. And my wife and I said when we got back, hey, let's continue this lifestyle. Let's continue on, when we cook food at the house, let's make sure we're cooking the right food and stuff. And then on the way home, she told me a confession, and I was pissed. I was pissed because I was angry. I was angry prior to her confession. I'll get into that too and what I confessed to her. Oh. Let me mark all these off while I'm sitting here talking about. Can't see. Got that one. All right. So I'll get into the people that I met and stuff. I'm going to talk about them because I know they're all listening. The tour director goes, and she's from Italia. I forget her name. I want to call her Bernadette, but Benedetta. I forget her name. Are you going to talk about the the tour and on your show and how much fun you had? Well, the answer I gave her, she didn't like. So stick around. I'll tell you my answer to her when we come back. So stick around. I'll be right back. This Sunday is 12 years. 12 years, my wife and I have been married. And to celebrate that, she's at a horse show. No, she is. She's at a horse show. But we knew the trip that we had was going to be our anniversary present to each other. But she's at a horse show. She gets back this Sunday, so we'll do something Sunday. I think we had some Wagyu beef in the freezer. Are you supposed to freeze Wagyu? I hope so. It's vacuum sealed, so it's kind of like not really vacuum. Well, it's not really going to get freezer burn. That's what that's what I'm getting at it. Got it? So my wife and I just got back from our 2-week trip through Europe, and I was filming a lot of stuff on my camera. My piece of shit fucking Galaxy S10 because I broke my 24, the Galaxy 24. So I had to revert back to a Galaxy S10 that I had sitting around here in the studio. So the camera sucks on it. Everything's got this big blur wash on it. But I was videotaping stuff, a lot of stuff. Like when we were in big areas, like whatever palace and whatever cathedral and whatever that, because secretly inside of my mind, I was like, ooh, if something happens, I'm going to go viral. And I hate to say this, like a bomb exploding. Boom! Kaboom! Babe, I got that on camera. You did? Yeah. I was videotaping. Or a car crash. Or a car chase. Or something like that. I was excited. And my wife's like going, why do you keep videotaping? And I didn't tell her this. This is not the confession I had for her. My confession was way, way worse. And I was like, in my mind, I was like going, oh, come on, somebody blow something up. Because you hear about it in Europe all the time. Car bombs, things derailing, everything, something happening over in Europe. Never happens in the United States. It always happens overseas, over Europe. And, and the news report is, 14 Americans were killed in, the whatever, such and bombing. Details at 11. That type stuff. And I'm sitting there, I'm filming like, oh, man. What's the Ode to the Triumph? I know I messed that all up. the arch over there in France. And you see the circle where they're just constantly driving around in a circle and there's no lanes or anything. And I filmed like ridiculous amount of footage just to make sure to see if I can get like a car accident. That type of stuff. Nothing. Fucking nothing. You guys suck. But I'll tell you what, one thing that I noticed, and I kept saying to my wife, it got to be a running joke. She's like, will you shut the fuck up about this? When we got to Europe, we got to London and started walking the streets, going to this place and going to that place. It's safe. Everything's safe. Believe me. If you're scared to go, it's completely safe. You have to watch out for the pickpocketers, but if you're not, dumb or pay attention, there's no real pickpocketers anywhere. At least I didn't see them, but that's what makes them, fly under the radar. Everyone there, their dress code is black, gray, black, gray, gray, black, gray. There's no color scheme. There's no nothing. Everyone's got the jackets on. It was kind of cool there. Cool weather there. Floated around anywhere from 40 to 55 during the day and, 40s at night. I kept looking around and there's a lot of Middle Eastern people there. And there's a lot of girls that look like the Kardashians. I mean, every third girl looks like Kardashian with the long, straight black hair and the fucking makeup done to the hilt. And the guys are all 5 o'clock shadow. And every single one of them, you could put in a movie, some kind of spy movie. Because some guy would walk by and go, sniper. Another guy would walk by me. I go to my wife, assassin. Depending on his height, his build. Another guy would walk by, henchman. Why do you say he's a henchman? Well, he doesn't have his hair is different than the other guys. All of the Bond movies, everyone is a Bond villain. I mean, literally, like when you're walking down the street. And then the reverse of that was, we're on a tour bus, a cargo, not a cargo bus, but, it could hold, 30, 40 people. And our group of 13 are sitting on these buses. So we're all looking out the windows. And anytime a motorcycle comes by, European motorcycle, they have the dark blacked out helmet. I go, assassin. Because they weave in and out of traffic. Yeah, that's another assassin. He's going to go kill someone. My wife's like, would you shut up? Sniper. Shut up. No. During our walking around in Europe, my wife and I. My wife, for those of you who have met her on the trip and stuff, and you're listening to this podcast, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. I'm not going to say anything bad about any of you guys, so don't worry. Except for one person. I'll say something bad about him. You figure out who it is. For those of you that have met my wife, I always describe her as an alpha female. She is a very alpha female. She knows, I don't want to say she knows her place, but like if you give a group of people, she will tend to lead. She will tend to take charge. She's not very forceful. She's not very, she's not pushy or at all. She's just like going, hey guys, and that's what she does in her everyday life as a job. Hey guys, let's look at it this way and go this direction. Or let's look at it this way and go this direction. Hey, that's not right. One of the things that stood out in the group, if you're listening to this, the group, we were trying to get on a train and our train wasn't supposed to be till like 10:45, and they were boarding like the train at 9:30. This is in the morning, 9:30, and half the group went to the 9:30 boarding. And my wife Amy's like going, no, hey guys, that's the 9:30 one. And the tour director, I don't know where the fuck she was at, getting coffee or lattes or something. She was off doing something. And my wife's like, no, we have to. This is not our train. Let's go over here. Let's sit over here and regroup. And then the tour group goes over and or the tour guy comes over and goes, hello, where is our group? They're upstairs boarding the 9:30 train. I'll be right back. And then she brings them back. The reason why I tell you that story is because normally when we're out somewhere, my wife and I, if it's just the two of us, she leads. I always explain it. If I'm driving, whether she's sitting in the driver's seat or in the passenger seat, she's driving. You want to take a left up here. I had the GPS on, babe. It's going to tell me you're going to take a left up here. At the turn, at the light, take a left. Yes, I know. Thank you. And I just kind of shake and turn my head and make the turn or whatever. But that's what she does. I don't fault her for it. That's just the way she is, and I've accepted that. Hence the 12-year anniversary coming up. But this trip, I don't know, it's because we're on the other side, on a different hemisphere or whatever. She could not get her fucking bearings together whatsoever. She was walking in wrong fucking directions, getting on the wrong goddamn bus line and all that stuff. And I was fucking nailing it. We get off on the subway and we pop out on the platform. She's like, oh, which way do we go? I'm like, well, we came from that direction. We need to go back over this direction because we're heading uptown instead of downtown. One instance, she's like, she's got to go look at a map to see if I'm right. You know what, babe? You're right. So like day out of the 14 days that we were there, like day number 8, she's like, you know what, babe? You're fucking nailing this. You're nailing the directions as far as getting on and off trains and making sure we make it to the right place and left turns, right turns. She's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I am way out of whack. And I go, yeah, I know. This will be the only time I'll be able to make directions and get us to our destination. This is the only time. Outside of that, this is the only. She'll be right back on point there. Way to go, Copernicus. Way to go. One of the gentlemen I talked to, we were probably all a little buzzed. We were at the hotel restaurant, and he came over and kind of sat with us for a little bit while my wife and I were having dinner. And I was probably a little buzzed because I didn't catch this. And my wife told me like the next day, she's like, did you hear what's his name said? I said, no, babe. I said, there was so much going on. No. What did he say? She said that he's pretty smart. I said, okay, well, fill me in. I want to be smart too. Here, my wife and I, before we went on this trip, bought all brand new clothes. I say bought brand new clothes, new traveling outfits, because when you work on a farm, you live on a farm, you really don't have a whole variety of clothing, right? We don't go out to dinner. There's nowhere to eat around us. There's no like parties or soirees and stuff. If it is, it's through the horse community people that she's involved with, and they wear the same goddamn things that we do here on the farm. So nothing really changes. I was born and raised in Orlando, Florida. I like the nighttime, the city life, the nightlife. So I had outfits back then, and of course you get older, you grow out of it, and styles and change and all that stuff. So we went out and purchased new, updated outfit. We need to update our wardrobe no matter what. So we did that. Jeans, she got a bunch of dresses, she got a bunch of outfits, I got a bunch of, nice shirts, nice pants, all that stuff. The gentleman in our group says, no, I just wear my old stuff. And we're like, why? Well, she's like, why? And I guess the conversation came back. He goes, because then when I'm done with it, I just throw it away. I don't have to wear it back to the United States. I'm tired of wearing this stuff. So I just throw it away, and then that leaves my bags open for like souvenirs and stuff. And I said, you know what? As weird as that sounds, that's a good idea. Every time you go on like a trip, a week-long trip somewhere, wear your old shit. And then when you're done with it, throw it fucking away. You don't have to wash it when you get home. You got empty space for souvenirs or whatever, cocaine or whatever you want to put in those, wherever trip you're going at. I said, you know what? I'm going to take that philosophy from now on. So I tip my hat to that gentleman that in our tour group that gave me that idea, because I will do that. I will go through, and God knows I've got shirts in there that I haven't worn for a year and a half to 2 years. Wear those shirts, and then when I'm done with them, in the garbage. Boop. Garbage. And then I can buy a whole new outfit, right? I thought that was genius. I thought it was perfect. Sniper. Where are we at on time? I might run a little bit long since I haven't talked to you guys in a while. I'll get into the confession. Don't worry. If you bear with me this long, you are going to be, I don't know. It's going to be weird. All right. I'll tell you about the wrapping up and coming home and the things that I found out coming home and my wife and I's confession to each other. So stick around. I'll be right back. One of the first things I did when I got back the next day, I think we landed 24 hours. We were up. We left Amsterdam at 4 o'clock in the morning, their time, and we didn't get home to our house in Marshville until almost 9:30 that night, 10 o'clock that night. So we were almost up for 24 hours. And jet lag, of course. I was up Monday morning, started running again. Really? You're going to run this early or run already when you get back? I said, babe, we've been eating nothing but croissants, pistachio ice cream, gluten-free, vegan food. We had Japanese for breakfast. We went to a Japanese bagel shop and had, teriyaki duck bagels and all these different things and all the different coffees that you can think of and all the different food. And it was just a great time. But I gotta run. I gotta get this weight back off of me because I feel it. Oh man, on the flight home, I felt it. Ugh. Oh, God, someone stinks on this plane. So I was listening to a news article, and the type of running that I do, I run Monday through Friday, 4 miles. And I try to explain it to people. I say, I run 50. If you listen to the show for any length of time, you know how I run. I run about 50, 75 yards and then walk 30 yards and then run another 100 yards and then walk, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. I didn't know that actually had a name. It's called Jeffing. 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 Where you run for 30 to 45 seconds, top speed, supposedly, and then you cool down for 30 seconds and then, do the same thing again and again. And I said, well, I guess so. That's what I'm doing. And I heard the article and I go, baby, you ever heard of Jeffing? Huh? You ever heard of Jeffing? No. I said, that's the style of running that I do. Now, only because the guy who invented it, who's 80-something years old, by the way, he just died, He's 80-something years old, and they asked him, you know, what's the secret to longevity in life prior to him passing away? He goes, I do jeffing. Jeffing? What the fuck is jeffing? Well, my name's Jeff, and I run 40 yards and walk 10 yards and 40 yards, and I just call it jeffing. So it hooked. It took, I don't know, enough to where they did an article about it. When we got back, my dad was left here by himself, and before we left, my wife goes, you know, we have 2 cats. We have Trisket the Biscuit and Tater the Terminator. They're both cats. She put out 3 big size water bowls. I said, babe, that's why are you putting so many water bowls out? Well, if he forgets to fill this one, there's always a backup and then a backup. So when we got home, my dad's job while we were away was to feed the horses during the day. And we had a horse sitter that came over at night and, you know, check stalls and do all the stuff and feed and brush and groom and pick hooves and all that stuff. We paid this person to do that. You know, check on the fences, make sure everything's up and still habitable and all that. So when we walked in, after coming back from our trip, the first thing my wife looked down was the bowl, big silver bowl like you would have for a dog, was empty. And when I say empty, bone fucking dry. And when I say bone fucking dry, you know when water sits in something so long and then as it evaporates, there's a mineral ring that it leaves behind, whatever minerals are in the water. We're on a septic, or not a septic system. Well, we're on a septic system, but we have a well here. We have water softener and all that stuff. So that mineral ring is the salt to make the water softer for us here at the hacienda. So she went into the other room where the other bowl is. Same thing. She's like, oh my God. She walked into the third bowl. Same fucking thing. Bone fucking dry. And my dad comes out, I swear I fill those up every day. My wife she had such a hard time because that does not happen. Not filling the bowl up of water in 2 days. Let's say, you know, you forgot to fill it up like 2 or 3 days. That is forgotten over several days where the cats drink the water and cats drink the water. And then, you know, whatever's left in the bowl that they can't literally, you know, serve out evaporates and there's nothing there. So that's one instance. And my dad, I don't know if he forgot or didn't remember. I think that's the same thing, isn't it? And my wife, she took it hard. And then the next thing was the ice maker. Our ice maker's not working properly. So the next day, I was like, you know, sometimes if you just leave something like mechanic like that, it'll fix it on its own. And I was like, if we take my wife and I out of the equation, maybe just my dad being there by himself, it'll fix whatever's wrong with it. We have a double ice maker. One makes big cubes, one makes little cubes. And if you're watching me here on the YouTube video, this one scoops over and it's a little cubes, and this one scoops over and does the big cubes. I know, fancy, right? So I said to my dad the next day, after we felt bad about not watering the cats, hey, it's not making ice anymore. It's even gotten worse. Dad, look it up online. Just look it up online. Give me the model number and everything, and I'll do it. And in the back of my mind, I'm like going, I have never worked on an ice maker on this machine before, or this type of refrigerator. I'm used to the old school one. Sure enough, it was all frozen together. Put the hairdryer under there. It allowed the motor to turn. And the reason why everything was frozen is because my dad fucking leaves the goddamn freezer that's the bottom drawer fucking open all the time. And moisture gets in there and fucking freezes everything and locks everything. So there. And that's what happened when we got back. Everything's fine now. Everything's fine. I know I'm clicking my pen here. As we were leaving the hotel, our last place that we were staying at in Amsterdam, my wife has medication that needs to keep cool. So she has ice packs, and she bought this neat little contraption, small little igloo container that can keep it cool and has a temperature reading on the outside. So you put the ice packs in there, you put your medicine in there, zip it up, and it'll keep it cool or a certain temperature, and you can see the temperature on the outside. She doesn't take it every day. She takes it, I think, every 4 days or something like that. I don't know what it is. I don't get involved with it, but she says, I need to keep this cool. So we had a refrigerator in our room. Medication goes in there, but the ice packs need to go in the freezer. So she asked the hotel, the last hotel that we were staying at in Amsterdam, hey, can you put this in your freezers? We've done it at other hotels, and they had no problem. Here's your name. Here's your number. Here's like a claim check. Here's your claim check. We'll put this in the freezer. When we go to check out of the hotel in London, here's your claim check. Go get the stuff out of the freezer. We're on our way. In Amsterdam, my wife went to the wrong person. I told you about her being the alpha. She went to the wrong person. She went to the concierge instead of the front desk. And I didn't want to say anything. I just let her. She knows what she's doing. I'll let her do it. So she goes to the concierge, and she's like going, hey, can you put this in your freezer? It's for my medicine and stuff like that. And the girl at the desk was like, yeah, sure. And my wife was like, do you want my name or anything and my room number to put on these? And the girl goes, yeah, that would be a good idea. Because they speak English there. Yeah, that would be a good idea. What's your name and your room number? She writes it on a Post-it note and then sticks it on the ice packs and then walks away. In my mind, I go, this is not going to turn out good. This is not going to be good. So she walks away. My wife's confident in her decision with the ice and leaving it with the concierge. When we go to leave, and we're leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning to catch a flight at 7 o'clock to go back to London to catch another flight to come back home. Hence the 24-hour being up all day. We're down in the lobby. They had our box lunches. We asked for box lunches or box breakfasts. They fill out the form the night before. Gave it to the front desk. Hey, we're leaving early. I had a box lunch. I had 2 sandwiches. My wife had a sandwich and a bunch of stuff. We were good to go. And my wife goes, I need my ice packs. And the lady at the front desk, because the concierge's not there, it's 4 o'clock in the fucking morning, so you get the night shift that comes in. Where is your ice packs? Yeah. I gave someone the girl, and she kept going, the girl over there. Babe, they don't know the girl over there. They're night shift, day shift. They don't even see each other. I'll send my colleague. Everything's a colleague. I'll send my colleague to look. Meanwhile, my wife, panicking now because the Uber driver's outside, is worried that we're going to be late for our flight. So she's pacing. I'm like, oh, God, here we go. Here we go. 3 or 4 minutes comes by, and some other knucklehead that works at the hotel brings like a Ziploc bag with like, I don't know what was in it. Is this your freezer packs? She's like, no, they're blue. They're about this big, and it has my name on it and my room number. Oh, what is your room number and what is your name? And my wife is already steam coming out of her ears because we're running late. She's like, Amy, room number, 1422, blue packs, this big, freezer, find them. And so we're standing there in the lobby, and she's tapping her foot and tapping her foot. I said, babe, it'll be okay. They're just ice packs. We can buy more online. What was pissing her off is that she realized that she made the wrong decision of giving it to the concierge. That's what was pissing her off the most. That was the main thing. And I understand that. I'd be the same way. On the way to the airport, once we said, fuck it. She's like, I knew I made the wrong decision. So as we're leaving the hotel, my wife's like, 3, 2, 1. She's like, forget it. We're fucking late. She didn't say fucking. We're late already for our airplane or whatever flight and stuff. She's like, come on, babe, let's go. And the lady was like going, oh, but one more second, please. I'm sorry. And she's like, my wife goes, I don't know where the fuck this came from. She goes, don't worry about it. You'll hear it on my review about this hotel. I gotta go, well, that's a new turn for you. That's a new look for you. Writing a review based on a ice pack thing. All right. instead of saying, maybe she was so frustrated at the moment, you always think back, oh, I should have said something else. I should have said this. I should have said that. And maybe in her mind, that was what she was thinking. Like, I'm going to write a bad review because they couldn't find my ice packs and stuff. I understand that. I've been the same way. I've done the same exact thing. You're like going, and I'll put a bad check mark on your thing on your Facebook page. Yeah. You think that way. And then you get home, you're like going, what the fuck did I just say? Oh, God, they must think I'm a fucking moron. Because I've been on the opposite end of that where people have said that to me, and I'm like going, shh, whatever, loser. Beat it. You're out of my life. Get out of here. I know. We'll take a quick little break. I know. Hey, shush. It's been 3 weeks since I've talked to you, and a lot's happened. So if the episode runs a little longer, bonus for you, right? Or more punishment for you. I don't know. However you want to look at it. I'll tell you what about the people that that I met on our trip. The group. We had a nice group. So I'll talk about them here when we come back. So stick around. I'll be right back. So like I said earlier, my wife's out of town. She's at a horse show in South Carolina, about 3 hours away. The border to South Carolina is about 45 minutes from us. I mean, we're literally like on the border of North and South Carolina. But the horse show, the horse grounds that she's at is about 3 hours away. And so our $1 million horse is over there being a $1 million horse. And my wife and all her training buddies and all that, they're over there. Excuse me. And it's not like a party. They literally they're watching horses or, all this stuff. She's busy. And fortunately enough for her, when we got back, or unfortunately, if you want to say it that way, when we got back, the next day she was like, or that night or the night before, I forget what the progression was, but she said that, I feel sick, and she's rubbing her thing here. Now, I chalked it up with pollen because it's that time of year here in the Carolinas, just like the United States. We came back, all our cars are covered in yellow dust, and now we're coming from, Europe and into a different ecosystem. And I just chalked it up for pollen. I'm like, yeah, I'm a little too. But no, she got a little bit of a cold. And I go, those fucking dirty planes, dirty trains, and dirty automobiles. And that might be a porn movie somewhere, I guess. I don't know. So she got sick. I say sick. She got a touch of the ick for a while, and now she's a little bit better. She did Theraflu and the emergencies and all that stuff. So she's feeling better. She's at this tour or the show. When we were leaving the last night in Amsterdam, our tour guide, we're all at the end of dinner, we all meet back in the lobby and we're all talking and shaking and, hey, I had a good time, hugging everyone and all that stuff. And our tour guide said to me, because she found out I do the podcast and stuff, she's like, are you going to talk good? Are you going to talk good about the tour and everything and how much fun you had and all this stuff? And I kind of looked at her and I go, I don't know what I'm going to say. And she kind of stepped back and was like, oh. And it's true. I don't know what I don't want to make it all, sprinkles and unicorns and rainbows. For the most part, it was sprinkles, unicorns, and rainbows. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on outside of the unicorns and rainbows that I see. Sniper, assassin, pickpocket, all that stuff. And there's so much more. I have a whole nother book of stuff for another episode, but maybe it'll progress and work its way to the upcoming podcast. I said, I don't know what I'm going to say. I said, it's just my interpretation of whatever everything happened. At least this show is this 50, because I do this show for my mental health. I do this for me to get things out of my mouth, out of my brain, so it doesn't clog up and things go on. So she kind of stepped back and everything. I will say, My wife and I both agree to this. I will say that the tour was well balanced. And what I mean by that is I didn't feel that every day we had to be, and we've done this before, being with groups of people and all that, where you got to, hey, come on, let's go. 8 o'clock. We got to be on this. We got to do, everything was rush. All right. And don't forget. And then you're packing, 3 days worth of activities in like 2 days or 1.5 days or so. And you're just, at the end of the day, you're just exhausted. I don't want to do anything anymore. I will say that this tour, this group, the tour group that we were with, the company, I think it's called, I don't know, Easy Go or something. I forget what it's called. It was well balanced. We had a well balance of alone time. We had a well balance of being together as a group. We had a well balance of the group can go off in couples and pairs or groups, little cliques or whatever, and they can go off and do their own thing. I said this was perfect. I didn't feel rushed. I was able to sleep in a little bit. We didn't have to get up and get on a plane, to board a train, to get on an automobile, to be somewhere, by 8 o'clock in the morning. Everything was very, very well organized. Because I've done excursions. We've been to, I don't know, Central America and stuff, and everything is all like rush, get you there. I said, that's the only real good takeaway that I have as far as the actual tour itself. We felt like it was well balanced. I mean, completely well balanced. I didn't feel stressed about anything at all or trying to make a certain deadline or timeline or anything like that. What I will say is, one of the trips that we had on the train, my wife and I, sitting across from each other, I brought up a story. She knows about a high school friend of mine. Her name's Jennifer. I was good friends with her brother. Jennifer is a lesbian, so there's nothing, it wasn't a try. She was a friend. She was a female friend, just like the 80s movies. She was a female friend of mine. There was no sexual attraction between the two of us at all. We just kind of clicked and had our own thing. We enjoyed the same thing, enjoyed the same music. We were in the same classes together all through college or community college, and then she went on to do something else, and I went on to do something else. And my wife said to me, you say all these stories about Jennifer and the group that you were with. Why don't you reach out to her and talk to her? I said, why? She's like, I don't understand you and people that you meet, and they have such an influence on your life. Why don't you reach out to them and continue a conversation? She's like, I think that's weird about you. I said, oh, that's the only thing that's weird about me. She's like, no. I just think that's weird that these people you had so many stories and stuff with, that why don't you reach out to them? And I explained to her, I said, they were the people that I met, the friends that I've made, like that influence my life and stories that I tell. They were in that certain part of time. We grow, we mature or immature, and our values are different. Our lifestyles are different. Our schedules, of course, are completely different. That's one of the things when you leave high school, a lot of people have a hard time, transitioning into being an independent person without a group of people around them and all that stuff. And I said, even with this group that we have now, and nothing against the group, the tour group that we're on, I said, chances are, babe, I'm not going to talk to these people again. I've got great memories from everyone. We're friends on Facebook. I will watch them grow and, discover things on Facebook, like discover things in their life on Facebook. I love to see that. There's actually one couple that I actually gave my phone number to. He's a real nice guy and she's a really, really great gal. I hope to keep in contact with him because I feel not a connection, but I feel that, we kind of have the same values and things like that. And we have the weird personalities that some people, don't gravitate to. And I think that's a good relationship there. But everyone else, I don't, hey, we had a great time. And she's like, that's so weird to me. I said, but babe, listen, remember back in the day when I was working production and I would go off on a work trip for 3.5 weeks, and I worked with 30 some odd people on this big project and this big event, and you become a family in that 3.5 weeks because you rely on this person, you rely on that person, you're talking to each other, and hey, I got your back. Let's, you got one common goal to achieve. And then I'd come home and I'd tell her all the stories about everyone that we talked to, and everyone's got a story, and everyone's got this and all that stuff. And the production turned out great, big success. But I don't talk to those people again. Half of them, I don't even remember their names. Now, this is way back in the day, but still. I said it's the same thing with this tour group. I appreciate all the memories. I appreciate all the conversations. I appreciate all the new things, the new experiences, the new events, the new all that. I will tell those stories as long as I can talk because they were great. A prime example is the wearing old clothes, going on trips. I will tell that story every day now when I hear about people going on trips. Hey, I'm getting ready to go to, California. Oh, wear your old clothes. Well, why would I do that? So you can throw them away and come back with new clothes. And they all look at me fucking weird. But I will always tell that story. And there's other stories and stuff that this one just kind of stuck out because it's kind of funny. So all in all, it was a well-balanced tour. Let's see, where am I at on time? Am I still good? Let me take a quick little break and I'll tell you about the confessions. This is, if I haven't lost you, I'm going to lose you on this one. So stick around. I'll be right back. Real quick, one of the things I was really worried about going on this trip, outside of finding my way around town and getting lost and sniped or assassined or henchmaned or something like that, I was worried that being an American in a different country, I was going to get bombarded with Trump questions all the time. Not worried about it, but like in the back of my mind, how do they perceive Americans coming over to a, foreign country or whatever. The whole entire time I was there, one time, and it happened the second day I was there, before I met up with the group. There was a pub. I mean, literally a pub. It's an Irish type pub right next to the hotel in London at the H10. We stay at the H10 Waterloo in London. Right next door is an actual legitimate pub. The reason why I know it's a legitimate pub is because when I walked in there, everyone knew exactly I was from the United States, and they, confessed that saying this is an actual pub. This is the underbelly pub that everyone's singing, everyone's chanting and stuff. And the day that I go down there is the day that all the elders that lived in the village of Waterloo, they moved on and moved out and stuff. So the average age in this pub was probably 60, 65 years old. They come together one time a year, and this is the time of year that they come because they're watching steeplechases, horse races and stuff, and they sit there and place bets all day long. And I'm drinking beers with them, and we're sitting there chatting, yo ho ho, pirate's life for me type stuff. Not pirate's life, but you know what I mean. One guy goes, do you like Trump? How do you like your president? And I gave my honest opinion. I said, it's great to have a non-politician person in office to get shit done. Just to see, I just threw it out there. And they said, hell yeah. They go, we've got so much pussy, politicians in our government. They all have an accent, Scottish accent, British accent, English accent, whatever. We love him too. We like him because he takes no shit. And they kept saying that. He takes no shit. He stands up for this. He promises this. He does this stuff. He's a man of action. And I said, okay, cool. This is my pub. So we had a great time. That was the only time someone ever asked me about how do I feel about the president and the situation going on in the United States. Because here in the United States, we think that everyone knows everything that's going on in the United States. Like we are the main character in the world theater. But we're not. We're secondhand. So I told you my wife is going to leave a bad review for the hotel in Amsterdam because they couldn't find her ice packs. So we had to take a 1 hour flight from Amsterdam to London to meet a connecting flight going from London all the way to Charlotte Douglas Airport. That was 8 hours, 8.5 hours there. We were in economy premium. I don't know what the fucking difference is. 2.5 inches in front of your legs instead of 3 inches. I don't know. But we were one row behind the exit seats. And we're sitting there. And it's just, you have exit row, big 777 plane, American Airlines. Exit row or exit door, 2 seats. And then we're in the 2 seats behind it. And then the next row goes to 3 seats behind us. And there's an older guy and some other guy. They're not connected in any ways. And they're sitting in front of us. And one guy slept the whole entire time. He had a couple Tito's and whatever, slept the whole entire time. Snoring a little bit, fuck it. I don't care. It's an 8.5 hour flight. What the fuck are you going to do? But I'm sitting there and he's in the seat in front of me and he'd wiggle and move and stuff. And about 2.5 hours to 3 hours into the flight, after we had our dinner, I go, whoa, what the fuck is that? Oh, and I spun my head around to my wife. I go, you smell that? She's like, no. And then she goes, oh God. Yeah. I blamed it on, you can see where I'm going with this, the guy in front of us. Every time he'd move and stuff, I thought, and he was old enough to where, like old people when they sleep, they move, they fart. I'm like, this fucker, he must have done it 4 times in front of us. Every time he moved, I didn't hear it, but every time he moved, I was like, oh. I said, he's fucking shitting himself up there, and he's half asleep. He doesn't even know he's shitting himself. I got to a point, and I'm looking at my wife. I'm like, God damn. And she's like, I know, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, whew. I got to the point where I was so pissed off, I had a bag of pretzels, and I was going to crush them up. This is how pissed off I was. I was going to crush them up and put the dust, that I know, so mischievous. I was going to put the dust in his seat, salt in your bed type thing. I didn't do it because my wife would have gone, what are you doing? Stop it. So the flight lands, had a great time. Disembark. It's now 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. We're in downtown Charlotte. There's nowhere to eat. And I go, oh, I'm starving, babe. I'm starving. We've been in the air for 8.5 hours. They did feed us, but it's one of those little Factor meals. You ever seen Factor meals? Frozen. You're chipping away at it. I said, oh, there's a Burger King. Oh, babe. America. Burger King. We're home of the Whopper. I said, let's go. Let's pull over. Let's go to Burger King. She's like, all right. Because there's nowhere to eat. As soon as we get on the interstate, there's nowhere to eat on the way home. Nothing available. So we get in line and we order, and I order the Bacon King. Oh, felt so good. I felt so fat. And she's like, well, how'd you enjoy the flight? How was everything? And we were kind of reminiscing, and we were talking about how the tour was balanced and all that other stuff. And she goes, and I go, yeah, the fucking guy, that's the only thing that ruined about this flight. I said, the guy in front of us was shitting himself and stuff. And she's got this little smirk on her face, and she's like looking at me like, I'm looking at the camera. And she's like, I have a confession. I go, what? She goes, that was me. I go, babe. She starts laughing, and she's like tearing up. She's like, I couldn't help it. She's like, that medication that I'm on, it's working through my system. I've been on it for 3 or 4 weeks now. It's now starting to move everything around. She's like, I I couldn't help it. She's like, every time you looked at me, she's like, the look on your face, you were so pissed off. I didn't want to tell you it was me ripping sheets over there. And I said, God damn it, babe. I said I was ready to put this guy in a fucking headlock and punch him until, he was all out of gas, literally out of gas. I said, really? She's like, yeah. I said, oh, fuck. All right. And then, of course, now I'm laughing because the people around us is trying to figure it out. No, it can't be his wife. It's probably him. They're probably blaming me. So I said, it's okay. I said, it's funny now. We'll never see these people again. They got a story to tell. I got a story to tell. And then when we got home the next night, it was my turn. I was so anxious to eat healthy after eating the big Baconator King, whatever they have at Burger King with 16 strips of bacon on, double cheese patties and all that. I can hear you getting fatter. I said, well, I bought these turkey burgers from Butterball, all natural, 100% all natural turkey burgers before we left. And I had one of them and I was like, yeah, they're pretty good. So I had one the next night for dinner. No turkey burger, just the turkey patty itself. And I had some vegetables and stuff because I didn't feel like thawing out anything. And I guess I didn't cook it all the way through because in the middle of the day, I mean, literally the middle of the day, guys, girls, when your constitutions are going to happen. In the morning, afternoon, after coffee, whatever, when you schedule your movements. In the middle of the day, I'm up here in the studio working on something, and I go, oh, I gotta go. Now, I come out of this studio, I go down 2 flights of stairs, flight of stairs, landing, flight of stairs. I'm in the garage. I gotta cut across our 3-car garage, we have a patio, up a flight of stairs, 8 steps to the back porch, to go inside the house, down the hallway to our half bathroom because our bathroom's still being tiled. The tile guy is still here. So I get in the bathroom, little half bathroom. My wife's like, what are you doing? I say, I'll talk to you later. I gotta go. And I'm standing in the bathroom and I'm literally, you ever heard the term prairie dogging? I forget what movie it was. Prairie dogging. When a prairie comes up and it goes back down, prairie goes up, comes back down. I was not prairie dogging. I was in a full state panic because I'm standing there in this small bathroom and our half bathroom's only like, I think 8 by 4. It's, jail cells are bigger than this half bathroom. And I'm standing there and I'm, undoing my pants. I'm undoing my belt and I'm standing there and the toilet's like right behind me. And I go, if I bend over, floodgates are going to go. So I'm trying to stand there and get to calm down. And I'm like, are you okay in there? Yeah, I'm fine. I said, okay. And it was coming in waves. Now, women, I understand when you have like contractions and stuff, I understand those contraction waves because I was having them, but in the reverse form. So I was afraid to drop my pants because I knew the inevitable was going to happen. So I did. I dropped trowel, and as I'm in the process of dropping trowel, I quote unquote missed the toilet. I'm not proud of it. It's only happened twice in my life, and this is the second time. And I was like, oh, fuck. Now, to add insult to injury, we have the fuzzy top on the toilet seat. Once I was done, I know, real graphic, right? You waited all show to listen to my bowel movements at the end of the story here. Once I was done, I didn't get any on me, okay? Nothing on me. But I was so afraid to turn around and look at that toilet because I knew I had some escape before I made contact, before the lunar lander hit the surface. And I turn around and I go, well, that's going in the wash. I look around and it's 8x6. And the toilet's right up against the wall. And I look at the wall and I go, gonna have to wipe that down. Look at the carpet, the little fuzzy mat around the toilet. And I go, well, that's going in the wash too. Now, this toilet is next to my wife's office. And the office that we have is our entertainment room. It's 20 by 25. So her desk is the furthest thing away from this bathroom. What are you doing in there? Just cleaning up. Just wiping the toilets down. It's a little dusty in here. So I cleaned everything up. Brought the Lysol in. Wiped it down. Toilet's never been that clean in my whole entire life since we've lived there. Cleaned all behind it. Cleaned the walls. Cleaned the... Oh, yeah. That fucking butterball turkey, 100% natural, was 100% naturally on the toilet. It was... And I came out and I go, I have a confession too, babe. Hold on, I'm on a call. Yeah, I get the finger up. I'm on a call. Okay. So I'm wiping everything up and everything goes right in the wash machine. And I come back and I go, you off your call? She's like, yeah. I go, I had an accident. I told her the story and she's like going, babe, the fucking turkey burgers, motherfucking turkey burgers, man. She's like, is that why you were making all that noise in there? The noise I was making was cleaning up, not the process of the noise, the excavating or evacuation of the noise. So I said, but you were farting on the plane. I can shit on the toilet if I want. That's my revenge. You didn't tell me until we got home an hour later. I'm telling you, I shit on the toilet. How about that? Welcome home, America, USA, right? Jesus Christ. All right, guys. I appreciate you listening to me work all this stuff out. I'll talk to you later. Okay. See you. Bye. See ya. Bye. Take care. Oh, this one. There you go. Bye. Take care.